That's one small step for Geek, one giant leap for Geek kind. Welcome to another Thursday Geeks this week. I'm Mario. This week I talk about one of my heroes, talk to my geeks, answer questions, give quick comic book news, and finally debut a new segment. Now on to the video. Over the weekend, Neil Armstrong passed away. He was the first man to walk on the moon. And on the list of things I wish I could do, by far number one is walking on the moon. I'd gladly give up the rest of my living days, however many they may be, just for the actual feat of leaving the earth and walking on the moon. It's an incredible thing. Sometimes I feel as a society we become jaded over that, and that's sad, because it is an amazing thing we achieved as a people. One of my favorite quotes comes from him, and that it gives me hope for humanity, and that is, "The important achievement of Apollo was demonstrating that humanity is not forever chained to this planet, and our visions go rather further than that. Our opportunities are unlimited." That's a beautiful sentiment to have. Humanity has this sense of wonder and adventure that I feel needs to be nurtured more. We need to continue to move forward to the future, especially if we're going to grow as a species and as a culture. It's always important to continue to go forward. It's time to switch gears and address the geeks. Steph, I am very concerned for you because I feel when the Avengers movie comes out, we're never going to see you again. We're going to have an intervention week soon because I seriously think we're going to lose you. And if we don't lose you then, we're for sure going to lose you when the Loki statue comes out. That's just a given. Luluco, you win for the sweetest, most adorable video of the week. It's the best thing ever. Everyone should check it out. I'm very excited to hear about your news about the magazine and the interview, and best of luck in that. And now that you mention it, I have been to some pretty bad panels in the past, so a panel on how to run one would actually be very helpful, clever, and amusing, and I absolutely think you should do it, and you should do it soon. Now, time for questions. Pyro asked this week, have you ever had anything exceed your initial expectations? I'm going to say yes, the new Looney Tunes series on Cartoon Network. I'm a big classic Looney Tunes fan, so I'm very protected over that franchise. So when I heard they were going to make a new one on Cartoon Network and I heard the concept, I thought, oh, this is going to suck. So I was going into it very prejudiced and very close-minded. But when I started watching it, I loved it. It's very modern, it's hilarious, it's funny. In fact, I keep waiting for the second season to come out. So anybody who gets an opportunity to watch it, you won't be disappointed. It's a great series. But yeah, that's one of the things that my expectations were low, but even if they were high, they would more than met them because it's a great cartoon. Also, to answer my question of will comic books ever be seen as a legitimate form of art, and I really love Paro and Lulico's answer. I really dug it because it reminded me of a question I once heard, and that is, what is art? And I remember learning that all art requires is human intent and a way to express it. Because of that, the definition of art is so flexible that it can come in so many forms, and Paro mentioned a lot of them in her video. So what I think I should have asked was, will comic books ever be seen as a respected form of storytelling? Because I feel it gets disrespected a lot. And that's sad. A lot of people are missing out on some great stories because of this. You know, not all of it is superheroes that go on forever. Some of them are self-contained stories that come to a conclusion. It kind of reminds me of what video games are going through, where they get looked down on. A lot of people don't take video games seriously, and they should. Some of the stories that go on there are better than most movies I know, and the graphics and the detail is just amazing. So that kind of answers my modified question. But the first question kind of led me to a philosophical art debate, which is one to have, I guess. Time for some quick comic book news. There will be links below to all this at the bottom. And news that might interest Lulico, Bryan Lee O'Malley recently released a teaser image for his next comic book series titled Seconds. It's highly anticipated because everybody freaking loves Scott Pilgrim. I for one am in that camp. I'm very excited. When I know the release date, I'll let you guys know. In other news, apparently Superman and Wonder Woman are going to be in a relationship, and it's going to start in Justice League issue 12. I have mixed feelings about this because I have not been the biggest fan of the current Justice League run. It's just not been that good, to be honest. But the one interesting thing that came out of it, and it's kind of funny, but somebody made a Match.com profile for Superman and Wonder Woman. Check the link below. It's a funny read. And finally, every fanboy stream, Jessica Alba recently dyed her hair blonde because she's coming back as her role as Nancy in Sin City. The movie is set to come out next year. It's going to be badass, and I cannot wait for it. Switching things up this week, I decided to get some help in reviewing comics from the most famous bounty hunter in the galaxy. I'm going to be narrating because he's too cool to talk. So introducing my new segment, BobaFett Reviews. BobaFett will be reviewing Amazing Spiderman issue 622. Written by Dan Slott and art by Humberto Ramos. This is the 50th anniversary of Spider-Man and the start of the Alpha arc. Normal high school kid Andy McGuire goes on a field trip to Horizon Labs, who is showing the demonstration by Parker when an accident occurs and now he's got powers. Yes, deja vu. His superhero name is Alpha and his powers are various. Super strength, flight, speed, but he can only do one at a time. There was nothing special about Andy. He has no identity in school. He's not a geek, not a jock, is ignored by his parents. He kinda just exists. But he's one to complain. Fett saw his father's head chopped off by a Jedi. Anyways, BobaFett knows that this is an introduction to a new character, but he's coming off rather annoying right away. The real highlight of this exercise issue is the two side stories in the back. One is what happened to Spider-Man's costume after he threw it in the trash in that one iconic scene by Dean Haspel. BobaFett has a conniving heart, but even he found this story touching. And the other is the mishaps that happened to Parker as he's trying to get to a meeting by Joshua Hale Filippo. And this one was Fett's favorite. He found it very amusing. Which made Fett realize that Dan Slott's run of Spider-Man has been amazing. He did some awesome things with the character, but recently he's been hit and miss, and he feels it's time to give a new writer a shot at the web crawler. That he gives the main story 3 stars, and the back stories he gives 4 to the first one and 4.5 to the second one. Next, Daredevil issue 17, written by Mark Waid and art by Michael Offred. This is a standalone of Matt Murdock, remembering one of the early adventures he had with Foggy Nelson before he knew he was Daredevil. He retells the tale of Daredevil fighting one of the most weakest villains, Steelman. He's certainly no badass bounty hunter. Pointing at Steelman is after Foggy because he's representing a client he doesn't want him to, and what Foggy did for Matt in this issue, well, it was touching. BobaFett knows a thing or two about having a badass dad. He really related to this issue and it hit him right in the feels. Mark Waid is making this comic excel. There have been revolving artists in the last few issues, but quality has remained solid. Fett looks forward every month to The Man Without Fear, but he better watch it because if he ever met him, he would absolutely no fear. He rates this comic 4 stars out of 5. Finally, BobaFett will be reviewing Batman Incorporated issue 3, written by Grant Morrison and art by Chris Berman. Batman continues to uncover Tali's plan by using one of his old aliases, Matches Malone. As he gets closer, Matches gets kidnapped for a ritual, and Damian, who was told to stay out of it and never listens to her orders anyways, creates a quick new identity to help Batman because it is believed Robin is dead. When you're as close as BobaFett, you really don't envy anyone. But let's face it, if he could be anyone else, it'd be Batman. I mean, how cool is he? He has cars, utility belt, a bat cow. What more could you want? Morris is doing an excellent job in the return of the series. The artwork is gorgeous, and the Fed is a fan of awesome panels, which this has. He rates this comic 4 out of 5 stars. That does it for me this week. Let me know what you think of my new segment. If you didn't like it, you might never see it again. As always, subscribe, check out the other Herpaderp Geeks of the Week, and stay geeky.